Hello, everyone. Welcome to Beyond the Stack, where we bring industry leaders together to discuss the strategies, shifts, and challenges transforming how global enterprises operate and innovate. I am Rohail Qadri, President of Professional Services here at Trigen, and your moderator for today's conversation. Today, we are diving into a topic that's transforming how global businesses view India. From cost centers to innovation hubs, redefining the role of GCCs in the boardroom. And that's the topic for today. For years, India's global capability centers, or captive centers as they were called back in the days, were viewed primarily as operational support arms focused on delivery, cost optimization, and scale. But that's no longer the narrative. Today's GCCs are being asked to deliver more product ownership, patent-based innovation, AI-led transformation, and strategic influence on core business outcomes. That shift in expectation is creating a fundamental boardroom dilemma. And that is everyone wants the GCC to innovate, but are we still funding it like a factory instead of a lab? In this session, we will examine what's still needed to change, and we will unpack how innovation is being measured, how leadership roles are evolving, and whether GCCs are truly being given a seat at the global table or simply a new set of KPIs with the same old constraints. To help us navigate the shift, I am joined by two incredible guests. Nagendra Rao, who is the President of Sales at Trigen, brings a wealth of experience leading digital transformation journey for global customers and has been first-hand how GCC mandates are evolving across industries. We also have KSV, a recognized thought leader and trusted advisor to CXOs who are building future-ready organizations through AI, engineering excellence, and talent modernization. Together, we will challenge assumptions, surface boardroom tensions, and illuminate where GCCs go next. Nagendra, KSV, thank you for being here. I'm excited about your perspective, and I know this will be a sharp, forward-looking conversation. Let's jump in. As GCCs take on more strategic mandates, one of the biggest boardroom debates is how success should be measured. For years, boards focused on efficiency, cost optimization, SLA compliance, and scale. However, as GCCs evolve into innovation centers, those metrics are no longer enough. KSP, let's start with you.
It's a great point. Pleasure to be here with you, Rohail and Nagendra. And I'm very happy that Trigent has started this conversation on GCCs. Well timed and way to go, way forward to go. This is an interesting question that you're posing, and you said the cost efficiencies are not sufficient, but cost efficiencies are continue to be important, especially in the current times where we are geopolitics and technology transformation, many things happening simultaneously, cost efficiencies are there. But people are now looking at over a period of time, 40, 50 years of time, especially for more than that too, lots of data has been collected. And many of the businesses have been functioning silos. For example, sales would work, customer experience will work, operations will work completely in silos. For example, for a retail telecom operator, the OSS function would function from a different location. The BSS function will function from a different location. The order book will function in a different location. Several data of the same customers being captured. How do we leverage the data to get more productivity is what is driving. So isn't transition that we are going through as a capability center in the country, as called out by you initially, we call GCCs everything only an industry jargon, from an analyst jargon, and also from an government perspective, the policy to get an image of what this segment is. The fact is, for an enterprise, it is just an Bangalore office or a Noida office or a Mexico office or a Melbourne office. That's the way it is, because they're now seeing capacity which is available beyond their home country, where they can accelerate quicker, faster, and more efficiently. And they go where the talent is. From the context of India, this journey started about 4 decades before, but got accelerated in the last 2.5 decades. And the last 15 years has been rampant growth. The emphasis has been efficiencies for sure. Beyond efficiencies, how do we get more value out of the capability centers that have established a period of time? Should it, especially in the last 3 4 years, the focus has, whether you call it innovation or capabilities, whichever it is, end of the day, the focus is to leverage the capacity that is set up here for talent to help them navigate the challenges of digital transformation, the challenges of cybersecurity, challenges of getting the right talent at the affordable cost, and identifying the talent with capabilities and building the capabilities around AI, etc., is what is determining the GCCs of today to be more relevant for the parent enterprises. For them, the parent enterprises are looking at this as a change agent, as a transformation agent, as a digital agent for them. There are examples. Many such successful enterprises have attempted to do this, are successful in this, and many others have fallen behind. The reason behind is the ability to provide the leadership that is required to the global enterprises. Say, I can do many more than what you're thinking. That is the kind of culture, that's the kind of journey that the enterprises have moved in with the GCC model the last 15 years.
Thanks, KSV. I think that's a critical perspective, and why GCCs cannot be measured on the basis or on the way that they used to be earlier. I think the landscape has evolved, but by redefining the scorecard alone is half of the story, right? The bigger question is how GCCs themselves are transforming to meet these new expectations, right? So Nagendra, let me bring you in here. So from what you're seeing, how are GCC shifting from a delivery engine to innovation-first organization, and what is driving this change at the board level? What's your perspective on this?
Thank you, Rohail. Wonderful question. Thank you for having me. I think what is driving this change is really nothing very different from earlier, but the flavor is different and the speed is very different. One is the competition in the new world is extremely different. There are AI-based companies, startups, upending very large companies, even in Fortune 100 companies. So everybody is worried how the competition will grow in the AI field and the new digital field. The second thing is the job market has completely evolved and changed. It's become very tough to hire people who know this new world order and AI and can move with the speed and agility which they want. The third is company valuation. Everybody talks about valuation. Everybody wants to get sold at huge amounts to Google and the works and all. So competition, job market, and the valuation of the company are very big drivers, I feel, in the market. And that helps drive this thrust towards change in the GCCs that we are seeing. They have changed from cost arbitrage to scaling up and providing value. What is happening in the new age GCCs? They want the GCCs to own business growth through great product lines, give suggestions, participate in strategy, and actually make decisions that drive the value of the company up. That's what they want the GCCs to do, rather than execute statements of work, which we've been doing for the last 25 years and stuff. The second thing is they want quick talent acquisition, and also the demands on talent are becoming much higher and higher. Yesterday, I was speaking to a client for whom we provide quality assurance. They want our QA to get totally tied in with the new AI initiatives and digital transformation initiatives, and they want the whole team to go up to the new scale to own up QA across the company, and they want to do it in 3 months. So the speed and availability of talent dictates the GCCs, and that is why India and that is why Bangalore, I feel. The third one is GCCs have to create value for all owners, be it small, be it large, value through people, products, and infrastructure. When in the next stage of valuation they are seen, everybody will see what kind of people do you have? Can they face up to the new world economy? What kind of product lines do you have? How fast do they respond to the competing products in the market and the infrastructure? The GCC will also be tasked to do build or buy decisions. It's not outsourcing to India anymore. The GCC will decide what to outsource, what to insource, what to keep within the GCC and what not. And also they will own customer experience and all the innovation for the company. I think these are very huge changes that are happening, and the drivers are, again, I don't want to emphasize again, but I will, competition, the job market, and valuation of the company.
Again, if I may add a point to what Nagendra beautifully articulated, I will add three more dimensions to it. In the early 90s, they felt technology is an enabler, so it can be done outside. Come to a post-COVID, now the feeling is technology is core to the business. You cannot think of a retail outlet running without technology. You cannot think of a banking services running without technology. You cannot think of an HLS running without technology. Practically, we have come to a situation you cannot think of an automobile vehicle not operating without a technology in between. With all of them
Absolutely.
taking place, that is also driving, as Nagendra pointed out, demand for kind of talent that is required, the speed to execute. Speed to execute. And I can also add one more point, Rohail, that is that the post-COVID, everybody in the world, our generation, perhaps the millennials and the alpha kids and the Z kids, etc., they're all realizing, prepare for the next nuances of COVID type that may hit perhaps 100 years, 50 years, 40 years, cannot land in a situation. So now
Right.
everybody is accelerating their digital transformation. Last, which is important in my mind, it is fact. 20 years back, 30 years back, people experimented with the GCC model, what could be done. The people are both in India and also internationally, the leaders, the executives have moved on between the companies. When they shift to a new company, they also articulate the vision of perhaps what could be done from India. So all these three factors, in addition to what Nagendra talked about, is spiriting the transformation, the board conversation to see that how do I get IP and innovation more out beyond the capability for deliveries.
Thanks, KSV. And I think there's the expectations have changed, right? So because the landscape has evolved, the expectations have changed. And if the expectations are rising and GCs are being asked to lead innovation, the question is, how do we fund and govern them becomes very, very critical, right? And let me come back to you on that, KSV. So what changes do you think are needed in structuring investments and operating models if we want GCs to act as innovation engines rather than support arms? I think that's a very well defined shift that is happening.
Rahul, this is a great question. I will take it in two responses. Response A, there is a huge opportunity and perhaps a gap in the Indian leadership that we have to scale up to be matching the global expectations, right? Uh, as you called out in the beginning of the point, we have been traditionally a services country. Even the early stages of Indian IT growth was all on delivery capabilities as a strong capabilities. Now the expectation structurally is, can you think beyond deliveries as a leader to can you take up the capability of functional leadership, where your ability to lead a team, part of the team sitting here, part of the team sitting in the home country, part of the same team sitting in market where you operate with, ability to lead, the kind of leadership that required to provide as a site leader, which doesn't come naturally to us, ability to work in a matrix structure, ability to influence peers who don't report into you, right? Ability to look at the your face ear to ear and answer this is doable, this is not doable, rather than being doers. So this architectural change is required at in-country level as to what could be done. But what I've noticed also globally, many companies, when they initially set up, they set up their capability center as a cost center, as called out by you earlier. You run it, right?
Right.
Now they got the cost efficiencies beautifully out. Then subsequently, the functional managers in charge of, say, in a retail organization, the design organization, logistics organization, warehousing organization, groceries division, or the fashion e-commerce division, etc., they all started taking the team in India as if it is their own. Rather than saying this is someone else's property in India, they started saying, is my team which is sitting 8,000 miles away. The best example of this is one of the global enterprises. He calls his Bangalore as an 18th floor. Why this concept of the 18th floor came up is he was not sure what is this GCC model about. And he was trying to expand his digital capabilities. It's a New York office, 25-storied building. He was trying to acquire the 18th floor. So someone told me, instead of going for a digital 18th floor, you go to Bangalore, 8,000 miles away, get the same job done. It's as simple as that. So the Bangalore office is now called 18th floor. So structurally, see this as your functional extension and not as a cost extension. See this as a functional extension. Don't see this as a geographic extension. As Nagendra called out, in 3 to 5 years' time, many of the local enablement of decisions will be taken from here. So, coming to your point, many of the structural changes required is to enable the leaders here in India to work in teams which are globally located, enable the leaders there to start understanding the cultural nuances, and tell them, for example, tell them what does it mean to work with an Indian leader. The best example is an German automobile manufacturer. Their global CEO had come down to India some years back. I had an opportunity to meet up with him. He says, how do you describe your experience? He summed it up well. He says, in Germany, in my company, the average work experience of a person is 27, 28 years old, and average age is 48, 49. The good news is their experience. The not so good news is they don't want to change. I come to India, the average age is 27, aspirationals are high, my future looks insured. So, structurally balancing the future that is aspirational, the future that is digital, future that is demanding workforce, the future that is going to be leadership that can work in teams is what I would suggest structurally. Otherwise, and I would recommend if it is possible, make the GCC head from India report directly to N-1 level or N-2 level in the corporate organization to draw the maximum juice from India capabilities.
Great. I think that's a great perspective, KSV. And more importantly, I think the points that you spoke about, the typical expectation is GCs are often expected to act like a startup, being agile, being nimble, but run on an enterprise timeline and governance models, right? I think that is what the challenge is. And that brings me to another question which hovers around leadership. The question is, what needs to change for GCC leaders to play a more active and influential role in global leadership decision making?
The C-level people have to decide why you're setting up a GCC, not for reducing costs, but to increase value.
Do you believe GCCs in India will fully own and operate global product lines?
If they define this 5 years from now, it will be a manpower augmentation center. The entire behavior will be sent towards that. In 5 years from now, it will be an innovation center. Entire thing will move towards entrepreneurship. In 5 years hence from now, if you want to call India Center will be the laboratory for the future for technology, that's the way it is happening.